The Flow of Gold, a story told by Vimal Lazzar. They say money makes the world go round, but I've learned it's not the money itself, it's the belief behind it. Let me take you back. Before the chaos, before the digital trades and the trillion-dollar debts, to a time when money had a heartbeat made of gold. It was the late 1960s. The world was calm, or at least it seemed so. Under the Bretton Woods system, every US dollar was backed by real gold. If you held a dollar, you held a promise, a claim on something you could actually touch. Governments couldn't print endlessly because gold was the leash that kept ambition grounded. People saved in banks. Governments borrowed carefully, and the system, though rigid, was stable, predictable, honest. Then came August 15, 1971. President Richard Nixon appeared on television, calm and confident, announcing what would later be called the Nixon Shock. With a few words, he untied the dollar from gold. And just like that, money was no longer metal. It was memory. Nations could now print without limit. Debt became easy. Growth became artificial. It was the dawn of fiat currency, money created from nothing but trust, a trust that, over time, would be stretched thinner and thinner. The 1980s and 1990s arrived like a party no one wanted to end. Governments learned to spend, banks learned to lend, and citizens, well, we learned to live on credit. The more we borrowed, the more money circulated. The more money circulated, the richer we felt. But beneath the surface, something subtle shifted. Money stopped representing value and began representing debt. We weren't saving wealth anymore. We were trading promises over and over, hoping none of them would be called in. Now, we live in the age of trillions. Governments across the world, from Washington to Tokyo to Rome, owe more than they can ever repay. And here's the irony. A crash, a slowdown, even inflation, can actually help them. When stock markets fall, wealth on paper disappears. Governments can then borrow more, because their citizens, scared of losing, rush to buy safe government bonds. And inflation? It quietly erodes the value of what's owed. It's a silent tax, a way for the system to reset itself without ever admitting it broke. So sometimes, when the markets tremble, you must wonder, is it really panic? Or is it the system quietly cleansing itself of excess? The signs are everywhere. Global debt is heavier than ever. Inflation whispers through every supermarket aisle. And interest rates, once near zero, now bite. Corporations are over-leveraged. Governments are out of options. And investors, lulled by a decade of free money, are about to learn what scarcity feels like again. If confidence cracks, if trust in the system wavers, money will flee the markets faster than it was ever created. That's how crashes begin. Not with numbers, but with fear. But amid the fear, something ancient glows again. Gold. While the public chases digital dreams, central banks, the quiet architects, are buying tons of gold. Why? Because gold doesn't default. Gold doesn't go bankrupt. Gold doesn't care who wins the next election. In vaults beneath cities you'll never visit, governments are preparing for a world where trust in paper may no longer be enough. They call it diversification. I call it a confession. From gold to paper to debt, and perhaps one day back to gold again. The system breathes, expands, collapses, and renews, just as it always has. And in the middle of it all, ordinary people keep chasing stability in a world built on motion. So when you hear the news of markets soaring or crashing, remember this: money is only as strong as our belief in it. And belief is the most volatile currency of all. This is Vimal Lazzar, just an observer, telling a story that the world keeps writing again and again. Disclaimer: the views expressed in this story are solely those of Vimal Lazzar, a fictional economic expert. This narrative is for storytelling and educational purposes only, and does not constitute financial advice or factual prediction.